Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Modern Event deck. This has been out for a while now, and originally it wasn't a product that I was specifically going to track down to unbox, but on a recent trip to New York I spotted one of these at Forbidden Planet for the recommended retail price of $75. So I figured I ought to take the opportunity to pick one up and do an unboxing so everybody can see exactly what they're getting if they spot one of these. I've also adjusted the lighting slightly because, as you can see, I just wanted to show how shiny this particular box is. There, it's a very shiny product. It's a 60 card deck with a 15 card sideboard, so very much modelled on the regular event deck setup. It's a white-black deck. It's called March of the Multitudes. In addition to the 60 card deck and the 15 card sideboard, we have a strategy guide, a spin down life counter in here, some card sleeves, so it'd be interesting to see what we get there, 5 double-sided tokens and a deck box. And down the bottom it mentions the presence of cards like Elspeth Knight Errant, so that's where looks like our tokens might come in, and Intangible Virtue and Honour the Pure. It also mentions the fact we've got white removal in here along with black disruption. So let's open this up, have a look what's inside, get an idea what the deck's like. There you can see the nice shiny box. It looks like this, unlike the, I don't know how well this comes across on camera, unlike the event deck boxes, which are fairly flimsy, this is fairly heavy duty cardboard. Yeah, probably very similar to, actually very similar in thickness to the sort of boxes you get with fat packs and the deck builder's toolkit, so that sort of style of cardboard. So this is obviously our deck box. There's a number of slots in this, you can see here. There's our spin down counter. Oops, hang on, so move that over so it actually is on camera. So there's a number of areas in this box, and it'll be interesting to see once this is sleeved up. Looks like everything's going to fit in fine, so that will be where our deck goes, and this is our sideboard position, and we can pop our little spin down counters and additional dice in there if we want to. So yeah, pretty solid. Let's have a look at our spin down. So it's a sort of, see that, shiny silver grey spin down counter with blue numbers on there, and there's the symbol for the set. I don't know quite what they've done with this in terms of the artwork. These are the sleeves. They have the Ultra Pro hologram on them, which you tend to get with the slightly more expensive Ultra Pro sleeves, but again I'm not too sure how these hold up. Maybe if anybody's actually got this deck and played with the sleeves, they'd like to comment on the video and just let us know just how these hold up in play. So let's open up this little insert here and just get an idea before we start to look at this in detail. So like I said, white black. Let's just have a look at our mana base. So we've got some full play set of Caves of Quelos, 2 City of Brass, 4 Isolated Chapel, 1 Vault of the Archangel, 4 Windbrisk Heights, 5 Plains and 4 Swamps. So obviously quite a large complement of non-basic lands there. It doesn't actually list the sets that these cards come from, and it'll be interesting. I'm not too familiar with where these specifically started from, so I don't know whether it's going to be using old artwork on here. It doesn't mention whether there's any new artwork, but we'll just see as we go along. So it looks like this is a sort of overrun deck, hence the name March of the Multitudes. Destruct your opponent's plan while casting a flurry of spells and put multiple creature tokens onto the battlefield. Boost all your creatures at the same time with enchantments and other spells and charge forward to crush your opposition. So token based with basically enchantments that are going to enhance those tokens. So you flood the board with creature tokens. You've got things like Raise the Alarm here, Spectral Procession. Where else have we got? Mass Pump effects. And also creatures that synergize with multiple creatures on the battlefield. We've got removal. And other cards like Path to Exile, Sword of Feast of Famine, Elspeth. And sideboarding it mentions as well here. So obviously in the sideboard what they do is they give you a sort of generic sideboard that's going to deal with certain threats like aggressive red decks, combo decks, maybe lands that gain mana advantages, artifact heavy decks, those sort of things. So the sideboard is probably the bit that would need to be changed up quite a bit based on your sort of meta game that you'd be playing this deck in. And then obviously the deck itself would need to be tweaked and improved. And it does mention things like Thoughtseize that can augment the discard suite, and lands that might be in effect. And of course the other interesting thing with this now is with you know, some of the new set that's come out, which came out after this was released. In terms of the Khans of Takia, there might be interesting cards in there that could help out here. And then on the back we've got the standard blurb you get with the event deck type products, where it just goes through things about the tournament, the event, and the format itself. Okay, so let's just open this deck up. We'll do the main deck first. Get this open. Oops. May need to adjust the lighting on this if it's too shiny. Okay. So first up we have Soul Warden. Got a couple of those. One drop, 1/1s, which whenever another creature enters the battlefield you get life gain. We've got Tide Hollow Sculler. And there's three of those in the deck actually. We've got our Path to Exiles here, so this is our removal. And there's three of those. Inquisition of Kozilek. So with this, this is basically hand disruption. Shrine of Loyal Legions. It's fun with charge counters. There's two of those. Honour the Pure. That's going to pump white creatures across the board, but well, I say across the board, across our side of the board, so basically white creatures that we control, but all white creatures that we control. And there's three of those. We've got Intangible Virtue, which is going to pump creature tokens that we control. It also gives them +1/+1 and vigilance. full set of 4 there. Raise the alarm. Puts 2/1/1 white creature tokens on the battlefield. And not surprisingly, a full set of those. It's interesting, this deck seems to have curved a little bit. Weird. Zealous Persecution. So this gives us our creatures +1/+1 until end of turn, but makes our opponent creatures -1/-1. And there are 3 of those. Sword of Feast and Famine. So we can equip a creature and give it +2/+2, and also it has protection from black and from green. And whenever an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. It's equip cost of 2 and 3 to cast. Lingering Souls is going to put tokens on the battlefield. It's also got flashback. We can cast it again from our graveyard. And there's 4 of those. Spectral Procession puts tokens into play. 4 of those. So here's our Elspeth, Knight Errant. 2 and 2 white, Planeswalker Elspeth. It's 4 loyalty. So its +1 is put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. It's +1, another +1 which we can use. Target creature gets +3/+3 until and gains flying until end of turn. And then it's -8 ultimate. You get an emblem with artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and lands you control have indestructible. And this is our mana base. So we've got Caves of Quelos. Yeah, we can tap this, add 1 colourless to our mana pool, or we can tap it and add white or black to our mana pool. It deals 1 damage if we use that part of the mana. And there are 4 of those. We've got a City of Brass. So whenever this becomes tapped, it also deals 1 damage to us. But we can tap it and add 1 mana of any colour to our mana pool. So one of the first cards we looked at was the Soul Warden, and so that in the deck will effectively counteract this damage we're going to get off of our lands. And there's 2 City of Brass. Isolated Chapel enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a plains or a swamp. You can tap it and add white or black to your mana pool. And there's 4 of those. Vault of the Archangel. So tap 4, 1 colourless. But for 2 white black you can tap it also, and creatures you control gain Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. Windbrisk Heights. So this is Hideaway on it. So it enters the battlefield tapped. When it does, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library. You can tap it, add white to your mana pool. For 1 white you can tap it, and you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you're attacked with 3 or more creatures this turn. And there's a full complement of those. And then we move on to our basic land set here. So we've got our plains and our swamp. Like I said, quite a large proportion of non-basic lands there. A lot of cards that produce tokens, and a lot of cards that enchant your creatures or tokens. So in this one will be our sideboard and also our particular tokens we have here. So we've got a couple of mere artifact tokens, some soldier tokens. Yeah. Probably potentially not nearly enough, of course, with the amount of tokens we could be generating. So here's our sideboard. We've got We've got Relic of Progenitus. So with this we can tap it, target player will exile a card from his or her graveyard. for a cost of 1 we can exile it, this particular card, and then exile all the cards from all graveyards and draw a card. So this is going to be good against anything that's got a graveyard based strategy that we might want to disrupt. Then bring that in, and there's 3 of those. Burrington Forge Tender, protection from red. Sacrifice Burrington Forge Tender, prevent all damage, a red source of your choice. We'll deal this turn, so this is when we're up against red burn or red aggro. Duress, sorcery, so we get our opponent to reveal their card, so this is going to be their hand, sorry, and we can choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card, so that's our hand disruption. That's going to deal with a Planeswalker. Kataki War's Wage. So this particular one, it says all artifacts are at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this artifact unless you play 1. And there are 3 of those. Dismember, target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. That's going to deal with large creatures, and also this has got the Phyrexian mana, so you can play that alternatively with 2 life if you want for each one of those. And Ghost Quarter, you can sacrifice this, use it to destroy a target land. Its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle his or her library. So again, good for dealing with specialised mana bases. And you can just tap it to generate regular colourless mana. And there's 2 of those in the deck. So that's our deck and our sideboard, and hopefully you've got a pretty good idea how that deck hangs together. And really that's it. Like I said, I'm not sure how these sleeves are going to hold up. You know, they look fine. I know there was I think a problem with the sleeves in the Commander's Arsenal product, so hopefully they've improved on that. And so there we have that's the modern event deck with the 60 card deck and 15 card sideboard in it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.